Even as a young girl, I was worrying about the future of the planet, but I kind of always focused on reducing my carbon footprint. Like I drive a hybrid and we try and keep like our temperatures at appropriate temperatures in the summer and winter. And then I actually watched the documentary Plastic Ocean and my mind was blown. And hearing stats like in the year 2050, there'll be more plastic in the ocean than fish. And so after that, I was like, I have to be part of the solution. That's kind of what got me started. And then I started my own blog, which has been fantastic because it's kept me accountable and kind of I'm always doing something new. I make my own toothpaste now. I make my own face wash. I make my own household cleaner from very simple plant-based ingredients. I also grow my own fruits and veggies. I carry around kind of like a zero waste kit that has a reusable straw, it's got a reusable coffee cup, I keep a produce bag with me, a reusable water bottle. So that's a really easy way to reduce a lot of single-use plastic. And that I think should be everyone's kind of first step. Now I go to 3 different grocery stores to make sure I can get my bulk goods, my bread, and my produce zero waste. It'd be great to go to a package-free store every time I needed to get something, but where I live, that's just not a reality. So Bulk Barn has started a reusable container program, which I think is fantastic. So that's where I get the majority of my bulk stuff. I go to the regular grocery store or a farmer's market for my produce, and I go to Whole Foods or a bakery to get my grains. And definitely a big change was changing my daughter's diapers, because we were going through probably 6 or 7 diapers a day, which in Toronto are compostable, but it turns out just part of it is compostable, the outside is still a plastic shell. So we switched to cloth diapers for our youngest, and then we also use an 100% biodegradable bamboo diaper as well. I think parents have the biggest ability to make a change in that way when your kids are young. Certainly it has been more time consuming. There are a lot more chores you have to do. We're doing a lot more dishes and laundry. And I think that's because everything's reusable now. So we have reusable wipes. We chuck those in the laundry. We have handkerchiefs. We chuck those in the laundry. But to me, those are small prices to pay for the lessened anxiety and kind of the happiness I feel knowing that I'm doing something to be part of the solution. So in terms of finances, it's interesting because there can be some upfront costs that you don't think about. We did things like we bought reusable straws, and we did have to buy some jars, some of like the bigger jars, to kind of sustain this lifestyle. Some things at the bulk store are actually more expensive. And I think I'm probably spending a little bit more on gas because I'm going to a couple more places, but I think overall, we're actually saving a lot of money. We don't buy things like tissues and paper towels and household cleaners, and so costs would add up there. And also we've decreased our shopping, well, almost it's zero shopping kind of thing. And then everything else we kind of try and buy secondhand, so that's a lot cheaper. So when you change your mentality, in the end you end up saving money. A large part of this lifestyle is diverting trash from the landfill. For me, number one is always about reduction and reuse. So I'm trying not to bring in new things into our household. So that's my number one way of diverting trash from the landfill. However, obviously I'm a human being and sometimes you need to buy things brand new. So then I try and buy things that I know can be recycled or composted. It was really important to know what my city is capable of, and it turns out they're capable of a lot. I did some research, I spent a lot of time, looking at the websites, I wrote some emails, etc. And I found out what exactly is recyclable, what is compostable, and how it has to be recycled or composted. And another thing that's really helped a lot in terms of kind of taking off the intimidation factor of being zero waste or low waste has been this TerraCycle box I bought. So for anyone who might not know about the TerraCycle company, they try really hard to recycle things that most people can't recycle in their city. So we bought a kitchen waste box. Sometimes you're not prepared and you end up creating some food wrapper waste. So we feel a lot better putting it in there and knowing that it'll get recycled instead of just rot in a landfill or end up in our ocean. For me, part of being a steward of the planet is not just kind of on the family level, but can I teach people? Because so much of me not being eco-friendly was lack of awareness. So I started an Instagram blog almost right after I started my low waste journey. Everything I learn, I try and share with other people. And then I'm so lucky that I'm a teacher. So I have the opportunity to influence so many young minds. And I'm actually just going back to work after a maternity leave. So I'm really looking forward to kind of spreading the message, not only through my words, but through my actions to a new generation of people. And hopefully they'll grow up in a time where bringing your lunch in a stainless steel container isn't that weird. So I think the zero waste movement is incredible. There's so many kind of eco warriors out there paving the way for us, but I really hesitate to call myself zero waste. I'm very much at the beginning of my kind of earth journey, if you will. So I like to call myself low waste, and I like to actually, especially my blog, I like to kind of provide real, authentic glimpses into what my life is. Like, you know, I have plastic toys. I went to the hairdresser the other day and they used plastic to do my hair. And while those aren't, you know, everyday occurrences, they do happen. And I think it's important to recognize that, especially when you're trying to set out. You know, it can be really intimidating to try and tackle this whole plastic pollution. And it's important, but I think baby steps are really the key. It's never too late to start. Doing something is always better than doing nothing, and you can't do everything. But I think it's important to start making ourselves aware because we have so much power to make a difference.